Do not make this costly mistake when you buy your first commercial property. Yes, it is going to be very costly if you make these mistakes. So if you want to know, watch till the end. If you want to buy a commercial property, the first thing that you need to think about is which entity, like who is going to buy that property. Unlike residential property, where all the time we think about buying in our own name because of the tax benefits and all, we think about the negative gearing property, so I can offset that money into my personal jobs. That is not the case when we buy a commercial property. The first mistake that you will do is that if you buy that property in your own name. Buying property in your own name, in a particularly commercial property, you are going to take a huge risk. Instead, what you will be doing is that setting it up a separate entity called family trust or unit trust or kind of a company, and then you will be buying in that entity. That's the number one mistake that you should not be doing. The second thing is that buying a property which is vacant, that you should not be doing. As a first investment property, you should be always thinking of a tenanted property. Yes, you can buy a vacant property and then you can rent it out, and then you can sell it to someone else with a lower cap and earn more money. That is an advanced strategy. As a first time investor, buying a first commercial property, you should be looking at least a minimum of 3 years lease as a tenanted property, because buying a vacant property, you are taking huge risk, and if the property will remain vacant for 3 months, 6 months, you have to pay from your pocket, and that is not a good strategy. I would always look for something which is tenanted, which is generally long-term tenant. Either they have been staying and they have a plan to stay, or just that property got tenanted for at least next 3 to 5 years. The current tenant is committing it. That means they are going to stay there in this 3 to 5 years time. This kind of properties I would look to buy, but not the property which is vacant and then you seeing that the vacancy will be there for next 3 to 5 years. I mean, the vacancy will be there for next 3 to 5 months. And the next costly mistake, it could be that if you buy a negative cash flow property or negative gearing property. Unlike residential property, commercial property is always positive cash flow. It means that once you pay your mortgage payment and all other expenses, at the end of the month, the money will still be there in your bank account. So if you take, like, let's say 60% or 70% LVR, and because you have paid some amount which is 20 to 30%, you will have, this property will always be positive cash flow. So if you buying a negative gearing or negative cash flow property, which means like right now, let's say the interest rate is around 6%, but you are buying a 4% or 3% net yield property or net rent property, then it is going to be a negative cash flow or negative gearing property. And having a negative cash flow property is a costly mistake, because every single month you have to pay money from your pocket. And commercial properties, investors do not buy a commercial properties because they want to lose money. Investor buy properties which they make money, which is why an investor should always look for buying property which is making money, which is a positive cash flow. So if you are looking for a commercial property, the first question that you will be asking is that how much I am going to earn per month after all my expenses. With a certain amount of loan, let's say 70% loan or even 80% loan, it is still going to be a positive cash flow. So if you are finding a deal and if you are seeing it's a negative cash flow, it is going to be a costly mistake for you that if you go for it and buy that property. So as a first time investor, first property, we should not be buying a vacant property. We should not be buying a negative gearing or negative cash flow property, and we should not be buying property in our own name. These are the 3 mistakes which could become very costly in the future. I hope you find this video helpful. If you like this video, then consider subscribing my channel, turn the notification bell on so you get to see more videos like this. And it also helps me to reach out to more people like you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.